I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to First Touch Topic. This is the second one of the week. So if you missed the first one, go back and listen as we talked about what two players in the current squad that are not running out of contract would we move out, and boy, was it exciting. So here in this episode, we're going to skip the normal trappings and dive right into a single subject. You already know myself, Dan and Nick, and joining us for this one again is Louis Beneventi, head of Chelsea Echo and one of our favorite drinking buddies in London. Welcome.
Hi. I miss drinking. Can we go? Can you hurry up and come back so I can do that again? Because I don't do that very often. I don't have many friends. Just,
So he brings them over from America.
Just seriously, get on the fucking plane.
All right. Well, Dan, what's going to be our topic for this episode?
All right, well, Chelsea have a lot of rivals, but we wanted to get a little power ranking action going on and develop a top three. So we want to get and figure out what are the most annoying, frustrating, biggest rivalries from our expectation and thoughts. And our answer could be a little different because there might be the individual paintbrush strokes that we kind of put on it. But again, this is not for English football specifically. It can be world football, so it can be internationally as well, if there's a rival that we want to put in there. But Nick, I'm going to go to you first because Louis the guest. I want to be polite. But what are your top three biggest rivalries, club rivalries?
Yeah, I was thinking about this before the show because there are a lot of teams that you love to hate. Of all the rivals that we kind of have in the Premier League, I think I dislike Arsenal the most. And I would put them as my number one. I know it may not be the most popular number one out there, but as I thought about and I shared the GIF of Tammy scoring the last minute winner at the Emirates this year with one of my Arsenal buddies for his birthday, because I'm nice like that. And it just brought me so much joy to it still brings me joy to beat them. And we've had a pretty good run at them for some time now. I think they're my number one. That I love to hate. I think Spurs has crept up into the power rankings for me at number two. That rivalry, first with Poch as manager and their kind of up and coming young stars, and now with Mourinho and their aging team and our young stars, feels like it's going to go back and forth for a lot of time now. And it's been interesting to hear some of our more seasoned Chelsea friends talk about that rivalry in the 80s and how it feels like it's kind of back now. And that's really interesting. The third one is a European side that I love to hate, which is Barcelona. I like the Chelsea-Barcelona matches in the Champions League era have been the most enjoyable, frustrating experiences. It's been truly yin and yang. It has been tough, strong Chelsea with this fighting spirit against probably the best club sides I've seen in my lifetime. Barcelona is just epic. They have a lot of talent, but I love that Chelsea provides a stark contrast to them most of the time, and that we're a little bit of bastards, and we have a tougher side to us. So I think that's my order of the teams I love to hate the most.
You'd assume that Arsenal and Tottenham will probably feature quite a bit in this list for all of us. I thought about Barcelona too, obviously with the Ovrebo, the Iniesta volley. It's just so like we've had a bunch of battles against them. And what I think we can look back proudly is say Barcelona, there's zero doubt in my mind they hate drawing Chelsea. Even if they might get through, it is not going to be an easy leg. Even last or 2 seasons ago, we put up a really good fight in the first leg, and then obviously, Messi undid us a little bit, and the demise of Christensen, as we said in part 1, right? But you had the Williams strike, and we had some things going for us that at least put them, made them uneasy. So I think that's something to go off, which is pretty interesting. I don't know, Dan or Louis, do you have any ideas or thoughts on that list?
I would swap Tottenham and Arsenal, but that's just personal preference because the first trip to Wembley, It was my first ever cup final, my first ever loss as a Chelsea fan. It was 2008.
Oh.
I was 11, I think, 10 or 11. It was just not like it was
Just
like
gutted.
I hated it, and I've hated every Spurs player ever since. And I work in an office with We Are Tottenham TV, and it's safe to say whenever Chelsea play Tottenham, I actually kind of avoid going to the office as much as I can because it's just like it is brutal. Obviously, to us, that when I say Tottenham fans kind of like, oh, we hate Chelsea, we hate you, but we hate Arsenal more. So it's one of those where I feel like that's the most annoying thing for me about that rivalry because it's a rivalry, but they're like, we hate you more. It's like us and Fulham. It's like a more vicious version of us and Fulham. Like walking to Craven Cottage last year, and they're like, "Oh yeah, screw you, Chelsea." And we're just like,
Okay.
just don't care. It's like it's one of those where it's like, I don't know. Arsenal, I just hate because I hate Arsenal. I've just grown up to hate Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the fact that you look back at their old kits as well, and they're so nice, but it's Arsenal, and it's like, oh my god, like why did that look so cool? It's so annoying, and like the fact that you look at the kit from this year and it's really nice. It's so annoying, but it's one of it really grinds my gears. I hate that, but it's one of those stuff like that where it's like I just don't like Arsenal. And then third, I want to say Barcelona. I think so. Yeah, part of me also wants to maybe look at PSG because obviously that was always a bit of a vicious one. But I'm not going to try and get around the rules again because I know it annoys Brandon and he scares me. So I'll stick with Barcelona.
Well, I love that teeing up because I actually have PSG as my third, and it's mainly a recency bias, I would say. Having David Luiz, smash headers, Thiago Silva, what I don't understand and accept in the Champions League is that away goals count more in extra time of the second leg. Like that was not our fault. We played home, away first, and we're home the second leg because we were the higher seed. Now they score to tie it, but their away goals count for more. Like it doesn't make any sense. And I call bullshit because there's no extra time in the first leg, but there's in the second leg. But yeah, seeing David Luiz come back to put us out and celebrate the way he did, Verratti just annoying the hell out of me because of how good he was. And just PSG kind of being the French team they are. It was heartbreaking also because we didn't do enough to win and we totally should have in both of those legs. That we had every chance to go through and just didn't. So part of it is that's what upsets me. So obviously they're my third. Going kind of in reverse order is I'm trying to think of like my emotions of when we play these teams, right? Because I think that's kind of the litmus test. And my brother's a United fan growing up, so I always had extra there. And plus there's so many United fans in the States. There's that. One of my best friends is a Liverpool fan, and he seems to stick it to me the most. But the second we roll him over, he has nothing to say in order to be found. But even with the recent disasters against United this last season, I still would have to say that, like, I've almost lost friendships over the Arsenal rivalry. So to me, that shows me that that's a big point for me. So I definitely go with the Arsenal because we've had a longer standing rivalry with them than Tottenham, but a very close second is the Spurs because, again, they're so obnoxious when like things go their way, but when they don't, it's just excuses for miles and this and that. Like they use the argument of them being a big club when it's convenient, but then when it's not convenient, it's like, oh, we sold Bale, we have a new stadium, this and that, and it's like, hey, you either play with the big boys all the time or you don't, And I think that's what pisses me off the most about them. And being at the Bridge when we broke our, 25, 26-year run of never losing to them at home. Yeah.
Dude.
And seeing the lifeless performance that we had, that absolutely crushed me. And so, again, I can just tell that rivalry is massive for me. And like I said, PSG being my third, because while I look forward to playing maybe a Barcelona or a Napoli or whatever it may be, like if we draw PSG, it's just like, oh no, like I'm already upset before it even happens, kind of a thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see there. But I don't know. I mean, Arsenal and Tottenham, it's kind of your duo for Chelsea. I mean, like where else do you go domestically I mean, I know the Millwall and the Leeds and the QPRs are like the old school rivals, but that's kind of before our time if we just admit it, from
Brentford.
our journeys. Oh, getting knocked out of the cup? Damn Brentford Bees.
That was horrendous. No, I wouldn't go Brentford. I think when you do go up, you do look at your Liverpools, you do look at your Man Uniteds. I think that there's a bit more of a rivalry between us and City than there was at first when the Sheikh turned up. I feel like over the past couple of years, I felt there's a bit more in it. But then I realised that we got turned over 6-0, and that was probably the biggest waste of time I've ever had in my life, apart from my degree. So I don't know. It's like,
well, I think the 1-0 the season before that was the biggest waste of time of my life. I mean, I think we were more soundly beaten 1-0 and just gave up. Just we're standing there like begging them to not score than the 6-0 where at least we were still trying. It's crazy to say that out loud, but yeah, it surprised me that Brandon didn't go United in his top 4 because he's expressed on this show a number of times how much he hates United.
Yeah, again, they haven't been great the last 4 seasons, but if you go back to 2008 Champions League final, that was the first probably like major cup final that I watched with like, I would say like cognizant reality of what was on the line. Like I'd watched Chelsea deliberately all season up to that point, knew the entire team, knew kind of the gravity of everything. But, up to that, I was in high school and middle school and there just wasn't as much on. But then you get into the end of high school and college and it was a very normal thing to watch matches every week and follow the team on social media and stuff. And so watching JT slip, or before that, Ronaldo missing, then JT slipping, and then, two pens later, was it Anelka who missed?
Anelka. It was because I remember this was ironically, I said my degree was a waste of time. There's one lecture I remember, and that was when we were studying game theory, and Gus Hiddink actually employed that for the penalty shootout. Sorry, Avram Grant, not Gus Hiddink.
Yeah.
Avram Grant employed it for the penalty shootout, and Anelka purposefully ignored him. So it was one of those where if you watch the penalties, every Chelsea player shot to their weaker side. So if they were shooting with their right, they were shooting left. If they were shooting with their left, they were shooting to their right. Wow. And it's kind of that. And then Anelka kind of stepped up, was like, meh, screw it. Kind of like he just went for it. And it was like, and Van der Sar read it. And it's like, that was horrendous. That was again, another story. Sat here with my dad, he had his mates round, and we were sat there watching it. We lost, and I think one of them was a Man United fan. Literally got in my face and started screaming. It was the worst.
For the kid in the room.
Mate, I ran upstairs and started crying. I'm a sensitive soul. Okay, it was one of those where I was like, didn't come back down for the rest of the night. But then we won it 4 years later. So every single time someone's like, ha ha ha, you lost the night. I'm like, ha ha ha, we won it 4 years later. So that's one of those where it's like, nah, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I turned off my phone. All my friends and college buddies are calling, texting, whatever. And, it just couldn't. So, but again, I do have a deep-seated dislike for United. But again, it must just be the recency bias. Ever since Fergie left, I mean, they've been toothless at best. And, yeah, they might have obviously the 2 this season. I think we've written those off as flukes more than anything. It's not like we look at Manchester United and go, oh, they're a better team, especially without Paul Pogba playing. You just sit there and go, David De Gea has stood on his head a couple times and, pulled them out of it. But in reality, we're not worried about United comparatively to Arsenal and Tottenham. Laughable that Arsenal are down at the middle of the table and United are the ones chasing us, but we still don't see them as like this massive threat either. So I don't know. It's interesting. But definitely worth it. But yeah, Dan, you've been hiding. I can tell.
I've been watching you guys make terrible mistakes on your list.
So okay, here we go.
So I think just the definition of rival has to be someone at your level. So the fact that Tottenham is on all of your lists is absolutely incorrect, because for a team that just doesn't win trophies, to consider them a rival with a team that just basically goes out and wins shit for an expectation, Tottenham shouldn't even be on the list. Where I think there is one, and Louis, this was the way to get around Brandon's rules.
Oh, great. I like this. Come on.
Manchester.
Oh, my gosh.
United and City together, past and present, as the fucking worst.
Put
Losing
Salford in there as well. Salford, for the sake of it. We can't forget about them.
United and City, past and present. Some of the worst losses I've seen have come against great United sides. Watching City the past couple seasons just steamroll us the 6-0, the 1-0. Infuriating to walk out into a pitch and feel like you're just underclassed in all areas of the pitch has been crushing. And I think it's made it easy for those United or City fans that we know, the United fans who've been fans for a long time, the City fans who found the team in the last 60 seconds that we've been recording. Really enjoy the opportunity to go after us. I would say then after that, it's Liverpool with the way that they like to laud history over us when we have some excellent history of our own and have only just recently decided that they have a pulse.
Never won the Premier League as of this recording.
Wow. Okay. You jinxed it. It is coming back now. We're going to play the rest of the games. And then I would say I would round it out with Arsenal, who just, they are a shithousery side who are still trying to cling to some of our relevance. And we almost have exercised the steam in appropriately from our systems, but they still just can, get in a little bit. Like the fact that, I know, Louis, you're a big Twitter guy as well. Just the amount of people celebrating like the 2-2 draw from this season with a goal, like because Conte slipped. It's like, give me a fucking break. Like this is the mentality and this is the size of your club. But you know what? Like that, they're constant. They're like a virus. Like they just like sit out there and anytime there's anything good or minor relevance to their side relative to ours, they find a way to try to just inject themselves into the conversation.
It's like, we've won the most FA Cups. I'm like, cool. Out of the two of us who's won it more recently, cool, fantastic. When did you last win the league? Our Invincibles are great. Yeah, but that's not relevant to the question. So they sit and have that conversation. It's like, even we were invincible that season. No, you weren't. We beat you. Oh, it doesn't count. It was Champions League. No, we beat you. So shut up. It's like one of those where it's like,
Well, you can poke holes, right? Like the amount of draws, didn't score as many goals, not as many yes, you didn't lose a single game in the league, and that is amazing. I go, but you weren't the greatest team to ever play in this league. Unfortunately,
they drew the team that got relegated.
But there's a reason it's called Invincible and not Incredible. Like there's a difference.
There's a DVD for you.
Well, it's also, to me, I think most Premier League scholars would agree that the Chelsea team of the very next season would have whooped that Arsenal team if they were both playing at full strength. I mean, that 04-05 Chelsea team, ridiculous. You want to talk about just utter shithousery at the highest degree.
It was like 15 goals conceded all season. Something just wild.
No one is ever breaking that record. Yeah. Ever.
Like, Liverpool's already given up, 19 or 20 this season? And they are a very good defensive side. But, like, it shows you there's still 9 more matches to play. They're going to concede, maybe 5, 6, 7 more goals. Like, they're still 10 off the pace probably by the time this is all over. Like, that
21 against.
Oh, 21 against. Yeah, dude, get out of my face, man. Like, that team was utter shithousery. They would have stifled Henry in the highest order. Like, it would have – I don't know. I look at that Arsenal team, and they're just clinging on to the last shred of what they used to be, and it's brutal.
Well, I think, again, at the end of the day, Dan, you settled a bit in the middle. And I'm going to make sure we put on this graphic literally the city of Manchester as a rival.
Does everyone get bonus
one
teams?
Of those combined club crests that people put together, like when they're rooting for like their one team or their city against them?
God, yeah. Crazy, dude.
Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, City, United crest like merged together like some, dollar store Voltron figure, and it's against Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I did. I don't mind.
Is there any team outside of those three that have essentially gives you nightmares based on a match or something that has happened? Louis, you're shaking your head violently.
Just Burnley. I hate them. It's like one of my best friends is a massive Burnley fan, and I love him to bits. And when we go up, it's great to visit him. But oh my God, it's like traveling to Middle Earth. It's horrible.
We've heard that. We've heard it's like the worst away day ever.
It's horrendous. They make great pies, but I mean, outside of that, it's like there's not a lot else going on, and it's like it's I, it's always raining. It's always cold. It's always horrible. It's for some reason even it's like not quicker or slower to drive or take the train. It takes exactly the same amount of time, which is so annoying. I just want to get there and get out, and it's just like their landmark is a Tesco Express. That's the sightseeing in Burnley. It's like, lads, I'm sorry, Burnley, Sunderland, like I just hate them, and I'm now worried I'm going to hate Newcastle because they're going to get a financial takeover, be so good, and like the price of pints is only going to go up then because you're going to have loads of people going up to Newcastle who don't want to support City anymore, and then outside of that, I'm really upset, okay, because I like Newcastle, I don't want it to end.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, obviously, Burnley and that Ashley Barnes tackle on Matic always left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But Nick, is there another team that's maybe not your top side that just is the biggest thorn in your side?
Man, you know how I feel about Burnley. I would also throw, just because I think there's been some extras over the years, I think Everton for me is kind of a bogey team. And not because I dislike them a ton. That
6-3 match?
Yeah, I think there's always like a good fight when we play them. And so that's one that it's kind of a bogey team. It was between Everton and West Ham for me. I hate playing West Ham too for whatever reason.
I think the one that I would throw in there that is super recency bias is Leicester City recently has just been the weirdest like draw team for us, and draw/loss. I mean, the last 4 matches, 3 draws and 1 loss. It's just, I want to go back to beating teams like that. I don't want to have teams like that just hanging around and thinking they're at our level. Like, we need to be able to basically take the heel of our boot and stomp it down and say, go back down the fucking table. Go back down to where you belong and reassert some dominance here.
Well, yeah. I mean, the problem is, right, we're all cheering for them. And now we have to go back to, oh, yeah, that's right. You're actually getting a little too good. You can go back. You had your moments.
Let's rein it in a little bit, guys.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, for me, can't really say anything. Like over the top, but probably Bournemouth recently, for whatever reason, they've had our number a bit.
Though. It's okay.
Well, I know. And that's what's probably, again, the most annoying thorn in your side. It's like, why can't we take care of business against a team like Burnley in their Cracker Jack box stadium and their tiny budget with their homegrown manager, Eddie Howe, and we're sitting there, and then the Nathan Ake debate comes up every single time. And it's just like, go away. This shouldn't be a thing. But again, absolute recency biased as well. So I don't know. Let us know. Look, listeners, watchers out there, there's got to be wide opinions on who you find or who you determine to be a rival or a team you hate who's maybe not a rival, just a pain in your ass. Let us know. All right. Comments, socials, whatever you need to do. But that is
there's probably not enough Liverpool representation in our 4 lists. So it's one area of weakness that I could say that it would probably need to balance that out. So hopefully our listeners feel just as strongly about that.
And give us why. We want to know why. Don't just give me a list. All right. I want to hear why it drives at you and you hate it. So anyways, part 3 coming up later this week. Again, listen to part 1 if you haven't. All right. All about who you're going to kick out of the team. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.